working with characters. So, you have your storyline and world. Good deal. Now it is time to deal with those characters. Characters move your story along. They are essential to any role-playing game. If it wasn't for characters, what's the point? Remember that while you are working with characters in your story, they are done by your friends. Below, I will give a brief description of what most role players are to look like, which includes 1. The ideal character. 2. The combatant. 3. The drunk. 4. The leader. 5. The nutters. 6. Newbies. And 7. The guest appearance. To keep this interesting, I will do these all in different character voices. I hope you enjoy. Stay tuned. Number 1. The ideal character. The ideal character is exactly what it sounds like. They want to follow the story and move the character forward. Normally, you'll have 1 or 2 of these in your game. Make sure they are continuously engaged, and if you don't, they may end up in one of the other categories. The combatant. These folks are the easiest, provided your whole group doesn't revolve around these. Combatants don't like role-playing. They like the combat, the rolling of the dice, the concept of what combat is, the numbers. Normally, you'll have 1 or 2 of these fine folks in your group, and other than the ideal character, they're the easiest to work with. Give them a question, or add an NCP that talks with them occasionally, letting them know you remember them. But that's all you need to do. They're there for the dice. They look combat and role-playing for gathering levels, so they can kick some more, dare I say, ass. Now I have to give it up to me. You gotta give it up to me. I know I do. But still, there he is. Number 3, the drunk. You'll normally have one of these. I've been this character many a times. In all the games that I've played in, be it a GM or a character, have always been over the age of 21. If you're setting up a game under this age, feel free to skip ahead. The drunk is normally a friend to most, if not all, the party. And he has some benefits, as well as some harmful things, to the party of characters. Keep in mind, this is not saying your friend is actually a drunk or an alcoholic. It's simply saying they're the one that brings the alcohol, like the beer, whiskey, or other fine spirits. The drunk normally shows up with beer aplenty for the group. This is a rule for all of you GMs. Never turn down a free beer. In fact, I'll go ahead and say, this is for everybody. Never turn down a free beer. If it is a small group and you have a drunk, keep play within 3 hours. After 3 hours, things get a little bit kooky. With a small group, this is really beneficial because you can end the night with a beer with friends. Some of the best times I've ever had at the end of sessions are with hanging out and sipping a beer and swapping stories. Just good, fun conversation. If a session lasts longer than 2 or 3 hours, hold on to your bootstraps. Things get a wee bit strange. Sometimes it works out for you, sometimes it doesn't. The longer it goes, more likely it doesn't work out for the GM's favor. It will drain towards the just outrageously ridiculous. If you have a larger group, over 4 people, don't let the drunk join. It will be no fun for anybody, including the drunk. Try to get him involved with a smaller group. Problem with larger groups is the drunk will continue to drink while he is not playing. More people talking, more time runs between turns. And while all this is happening, the drunk will continue to drink. Like an him or her,
Drunk.
Drunk people are not fun to play with. They stammer. They draw out the story with useless talk. Need help with rules, with rolling. Or they simply disappear. Ordering a pizza. Or talking to someone they haven't talked to in a while. On the phone. Let me put this clearly. If you have a small group and your session lasts 3 hours, the drunk is actually beneficial. You can change the story very entertainingly, or simply go along with what's going on. In a large group, on the other hand, the drunks should not be there. To put it bluntly, they have a shot clock. Too long on the clock, and things get either out of hand, or the rest of the players wade through the reteachings, the rules, to the drunk. If you have a drunk in your group, and it's too large, anything larger than 4 people, you must deal with this outside of the story. And your group, tell them they're not welcome in the group. Explain to them that it's simply too large. Build another story with a smaller group of people.
I know you can do it.
If they really want to be part of the group, you must do the one thing you don't want to do. No beer. When I say no beer, I really mean no beer for anyone. If you're going to cut the drink from them, you must cut it for everybody to make it fair. If you don't, the drunk will either object or slide some alcohol in for themselves, starting the problem over again. Remember, no beer means no beer.
The leader.
Every party must have one of these. The player that decides that they are the leader of the group. But what if there are 2? What if your party doesn't like them as leaders? There are ways you can build around this. Let's answer the first question. What if you have 2 leaders? You can deal with this one of 2 ways. 1, if the rest of the team is compatible with 2 leaders. Mind you, this is only works in a large group. Then it should be acceptable. Let them figure out what to do next. If you have a small group, on the other hand, you can do a few things. Either A, or dare I say, 1, have them take turns. Each session, one or the other takes the role of the leader. Stop for applause. 2, leave it to the vote. Have them give it to the rest of the group and let them decide who will be the leader. Pause for effect. 3, toxic. If you have a toxic leader, choose the one that isn't. This is a rarity. Normally both want the story to continue. And then 4, the underlining. This is someone who takes the leadership role as a background character. They are tricky, mind you. They can be a good person to follow through your storyline. Just remember, the person who thinks that they are the actual leader should be plugged in as such, even though they are being guided by the underlining leader. Remember, you hold the story in your mind, but the leader of your valiant band will always be, and will always will, put in their 2 cents, changing the direction. Of all characters in your story, the leader is the character you have the most problems with, I dare say. You must keep in mind, this is someone you know. They're a fan of such things as world domination, or wealth, or simply concluding the story that you have already given them. They are goal-oriented, looking for what will end your tale. The people you are playing with are your friends. They normally have a goal. What's that goal? Why, of course, it's the goal you gave them. The leader of the group is normally your friend trying to move forward your story. Unless they are... Oh, do I have to give this up to the next person? Oh, yes, well, I have to.
The Knotters. Chapter 5. Knotters are a vile group of players that one thing and one thing only they want is to make the GM sweat. I should know I'm one of them. Knotters will be found in most player groups, but take heart. Working with them, you need to remember a couple of things. Either A, they are trying to make you, the GM, squirm, or B, trying to break the game. For those of you in Group A, you need patience. This is where you need to use improvisation. Whatever they sling at you, counter it. This is hard for those that have problems rolling with the punches, so to speak. You need to use tools, of course, to give you more time to think. Some simple ones are A, give them a strange look, and ask them to repeat themselves. This is normally short, so be on the ready to respond either with dice rolls or storyline. You could also go with B. Ask the group if it is ridiculously out of the norm. Simply ask the group if they want to do this. Remember, this is a time builder for you to garner ideas. Normally the group will see you sweating out a scenario and they'll feed on it like sharks to blood. See, follow along, just go with it. Sometimes it works. This is the easiest way to solve problems, not the best. Remember, we have a quest. This one I've used simply to put the group back to storyline through improv. I've also used it to funnel a different storyline. D. Counter of dice rolls. Either A, it'll give you time to figure out how to play it, or B, it's simply too outlandish to use, in which case you make the dice roll too high. Warning, if you do this, there is a chance they roll crit 20. You have to follow the story path. E. This is the last resort. Simply say no. Like I said, it's a last resort. If it is too outlandish, make it clear that it is ridiculous. This is an extreme. An example would be if players wanted to build a spaceship in a fantasy world. Tell them it's not a good idea. Be firm. But if you still want to go with it, let them roll. Remember, you're the GM. You control the game. Most Knotters will not push it to E, but if they do, they're along the latter sort. They want to simply break the game. These Knotters are few and far between. But when you find one, don't spare. You get to have a little bit of fun. You get to play God. Crush them like a worm. Always you control the game. If someone is breaking it, break them with extreme prejudice. Keep in mind that these Knotters are rare. Normally people that you have want to make the GM do extra work, and that's okay. They're there to break the game. Break them. Yep. I guess my time's up. Now we're going on to the next chapter, which is done by
The newbies. Chapter 6. Oh, the newbies are great and frustrating. Think of the newbies as a child, helping them to grow in the game. They will have many questions, more questions than anybody else in your group, and you must answer them, unless the party doesn't do it first. No! The party comes first, so give a breath so your party members can answer the questions, but if they don't, you must answer them. Most of the time, these questions come in combat, as opposed to roleplay. I still remember the very first time I was a character and challenged a person at a bar to a fight. Oh, nobody liked the fact that I did this until I explained why. I simply wanted to understand how the mechanics worked for combat. After I said such things, the rest of the group let me go through with it. I needed to know. As a GM, sometimes you have to allow situations where you're new characters. I GM allowed it, and I learned as a character firsthand how combat worked. Not with a giant or a dragon, but a simple fist fight that didn't amount to anything. Helping newbies is beneficial to your campaign. Now, mind you, you have to rein them in. Some examples. I knocked out the bar patron, and then started another bar fight. Oh no. At that point, the GM realized I had gone into the concept of combat was just an auto, and he put a quick end to it. I got thumped, which was good for the rest of the group. Remember, newbies can always become notters. And now, I have to give it over to the last chapter, which is
The guest appearance. This is a toughie. Every once in a while, someone in your group will not be able to attend and will ask for someone to play in their place. Placement will never be a newbie. It is someone that knows the game. Better make sure of this. Guest normally plays as an ideal character because they don't want to make waves. They always try to stay on the outskirts of decision making. Let them do this. Make sure they keep them involved. Make sure that the band of characters don't forget about your guest. Well, there you have it. A stripped down concept of players you will have in your group. If you have any questions, put them in the forum. Till then, good luck and have fun.